Your brain was never built for this. For almost all of human history, if something moved quickly in front of your eyes, it meant one thing: danger, a predator, a threat, something that could kill you. So your brain evolved a simple rule. When something moves, pay attention. Drop everything. Focus. That rule kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. And today, someone in a laboratory is using that exact same rule to keep you staring at a screen for 4 hours without noticing. Every time you scroll, your brain is doing something it was never designed to do. And the effects are stranger, deeper, and more permanent than most people realize. To understand what's happening, you have to understand how your brain handles rewards. Deep inside your brain is a system called the dopamine circuit. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. Dopamine is about anticipation. It's the feeling right before something good happens, the excitement before opening a gift, the tension before a first kiss, the feeling right before you find out if you won. Dopamine doesn't reward you for getting something good. It fires hardest when there's a chance you might get something good. And here's where scrolling becomes dangerous. When you scroll through your feed, your brain doesn't know what's coming next. It could be boring. It could be something that makes you laugh. It could be something that makes you furious. It could be something that changes your entire day. Your brain has no idea. And that uncertainty is exactly what your dopamine system was built to chase. Psychologists call this a variable reward system. In the 1950s, a researcher named B.F. Skinner discovered something disturbing about rewards. He gave rats a lever to press. Some rats got a food pellet every single time they pressed it. Others got food randomly. Sometimes pressing the lever did nothing. Sometimes it gave a reward. The rats with the random lever became obsessed. They pressed it hundreds of times more than the rats who got a guaranteed reward. The uncertainty didn't discourage them. It made them press harder. Your phone is that lever. Every scroll is a press. Every refresh is a press. And your brain, 300,000 years old and completely unprepared for this, cannot tell the difference between hunting for food on the African savanna and hunting for the next interesting video on your screen. But dopamine is only part of the story. There is something else happening inside your skull that most people never talk about. Every time you switch from one piece of content to the next, your brain has to reset. It has to drop what it was just processing and load something entirely new. A funny video, then a tragedy. Then an advertisement. Then someone's vacation photos. Then breaking news. Then a cooking recipe. Your brain was never designed to process this much emotional variety this quickly. Researchers have found that heavy social media users show reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and self-control. The same region that separates humans from most other animals. The same region that lets you plan for the future instead of just reacting to the present. In other words, scrolling may be literally shrinking the most human part of your brain. And the changes don't stop when you put the phone down. Studies show that people who scroll heavily before sleep experience reduced deep sleep cycles. Your brain, still processing hundreds of images and emotions it just consumed, cannot fully shut down. And without deep sleep, memory consolidation weakens. Emotional regulation suffers. The next day, you are slightly more irritable, slightly less focused, slightly more likely to reach for your phone again. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. There is something even more unsettling about what scrolling does to your sense of time. Humans have always had a relationship with boredom. For most of history, there were long stretches of nothing, waiting, silence, empty time that felt uncomfortable and slow. And researchers now believe that boredom was not wasted time. Boredom is when your brain activates what's called the default mode network. This is when your mind wanders, connects distant ideas, solves old problems, and generates creativity. Almost every major creative breakthrough in history happened when someone was doing nothing. Isaac Newton wasn't scrolling when the apple fell. When you eliminate boredom entirely by filling every empty second with content, you may be eliminating the mental space where your best ideas live. And yet, understanding all of this rarely changes anything. That's the most disturbing part. Most people who read about the dangers of scrolling go back to scrolling the same day. Not because they're weak, Not because they lacked discipline, but because the system pulling them back was engineered by some of the smartest engineers on the planet, specifically designed to defeat willpower. The apps on your phone are not accidents. Every color, every sound, every notification timing was tested against millions of users and optimized to make you return. The people who built these systems understood your dopamine circuit better than most doctors do. You are not fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a billion-dollar machine built to understand your brain better than you do. But here's what matters. Knowing how a trap works doesn't make you immune to it, but it changes your relationship with it. The rats in Skinner's experiment never understood what the lever was doing to them. They just pressed and pressed until there was nothing left to press for. You are not a rat. You can look at your own hand reaching for your phone and recognize what's happening inside your skull at that exact moment. The dopamine surge, the anticipation, the variable reward machine doing exactly what it was designed to do. And maybe, sometimes, that's enough to put it down. Tonight, there will be a moment when your thumb starts moving automatically before your brain has even decided to open anything. A moment that happens dozens of times every single day, so automatic that most people never notice it at all. Now you will.